Yeah. So can you dig it? Well, hello. Fancy meeting you here. Nice to see you. Come on in. Have a seat. I'm Jake Johnson, and tonight is Untethered Live Chill Stream on a Wednesday night. I hope you're having a good time. My voice is almost gone, so if I just stop talking in the middle of something, that's why. Anyway, never mind that. Amanda, you get the gold star. She says, "Hi, chat. Good to see you. Happy hump day. I hope you're doing well tonight. And I hope everyone else is doing good, too." With a couple smiley faces. Fab Daddy in the house. Fab Daddy says, "I can dig it. I can dig it, dog." Man, there's your gold star. Amanda says, "Trump, MAGA, 2024. Yeah, something like that. Whatever. LOL, MAGA, says Fab Daddy. Curious Squirrel. Welcome back. Alliteration overdose. LOL. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. Well, that's kind of what I do. I go all the way with something. And it was there. I couldn't help it. Those kind of things just jump out at me. I hope you enjoy it. It's took me a minute to come up with that. But thank you for noticing the alliterations. IDK, bro. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. He says, "Hey, I'm here. I just got done with summer homework." Cool. Curious Squirrel says, "I like it. It's fun." And Amanda says, "Hey, ADK and Curious Squirrel." IDK and Curious Squirrel. I can talk. I'm not having a stroke. My boss came to work last week sick. And then I came home this week sick. See how that works? So I'm not actually sick. I just don't have any voice. So I apologize for the scratchiness and the low timbre of my voice, but it's the best I can do under the circumstances. I almost had to cancel, but I'm talking, so we're here. Enough medication can make anything happen. How are you, Jake? Says IDK. I'm doing fantastic, IDK. How are you? Fab Daddy says, "Why do we call Wednesday Hump Day?" Because of the Ness. You know, the Loch Ness Monster? The nickname of the Loch Ness Monster is Ness. But if you take that from Scotland over to America, you drop an S. So it's just Ness, like a NES. And that's the middle of the word Wednesday. I don't know. Why do you call it Hump Day? Probably because it's in the middle of the week like a camel. April Rain in the house. She says, "Hello, Jake. I hope you feel better." Hey, Amanda, I don't know. IDK, bro. Curious Squirrel. Nice to see you again. Much love. April, good to see you too. Because of Mike the camel? Yeah. No, it goes back further than Mike. They've been using that phrase for a long time, and I would imagine it's because it's the middle of the week. Hey, Mike, it's hump day. Yeah. Y'all some camel-loving fools. Camel lovers. Pardon me while I play with my knobs. Maybe that's better. We'll see. April says, yes, thanks. Sorry, typo. Good to see you. All of you. Good to see you, too. Hello, how's Kev doing tonight? Mike. What day is it? It's hump day, says Amanda. Curious Girl says, hi, Amanda and April Rain and everyone in chat. Fab Daddy says, I used to smoke Camels. Me too. Back when Joe Camel was cool. You needed a really big fire to smoke a big Camel? Good joke. I like it. Here's your rim shot. Rachel Floyd in the house. Hey, Rachel. And April says, yippee, hippie, hippie, hooray for hump day. Hip, hip, hooray for, yippee, hip, hip, hooray for hump day. There's an alliteration for you. Hattie Cabro says, we pulling out the guitar tonight? Nope, sorry, not tonight. The voice is about left me, so I'm just going to try to struggle through with talking. No singing tonight. The rotisserie was monstrous. Yeah, I could imagine a camel on a rotisserie hit the ground every time you flip it over. Like, shook, boom, shook, boom, shook, boom. It's horrible. Rachel says, hello. 90K says, dang. I promise it'll be back, though. Give a brother a break. I work hard. I'm upright. That's something. I was not upright 15 minutes ago. Yeah, I think you could hear that if you want to hear. If you just want to hear me play. Oh, April Rain with 1999 right off the bat, and she says, "Thanks for being you." That's so sweet. I'm back by popular demand. The smooth sounds of the evening with a little Jake Johnson.
Skies and fireworks, people laugh, people flirt all night long. But I just stay. So I drove down to the local bar where people come in their fancy cars and play their games. But I just stare. Then I saw you sitting there, all alone in that empty chair right next to you. I fell in love. Oh, baby.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way. And girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything but just one kiss. And I don't care what you say, I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, you take my breath away. At that bar where we first met, you smiled at me and my palms got wet and you just looked away. But I just stayed. You said, been in love and it never works.
I make Milli Vanilli money.
I always end up getting hurt, and I ain't doing that no more. There ain't no way. Oh, no, 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 no. You stood up to say goodbye, grabbed your hand with a tear in my eye, and I just walked away. But you just stayed. But you looked down and you took my hand and said, boy, I hope you understand that I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way.
It's a really long song.
Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything but just one kiss, and I don't care what you say. I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, you take my breath away.
Just that guitar. Sweet. All right, there you go. Now you heard it. That was me singing, so. Whew. Sorry. Oh, you take my breath away. Oh, that's sweet, April. Amanda says it's a great song and I could listen to it all day. And sometimes I do. It's a good song. Should be famous. Fab Daddy says he's doing a pretty good Milli Vanilli. I'll do anything. I'm not scared. I ain't got no problem making a jackass of myself for your entertainment. Believe that. And you're welcome. So, I was watching the news today, and I happened to notice that the Biden administration is getting a little flustery. They're rolling out all the stops, as it were. Robert De Niro, of all people, went out and did a presser in front of the courthouse where the Trump trial is going on, and it was not pretty. It sounded a little bit, it smelled a little desperate-y. I'll be honest with you. It's a little strange to see that. I remember when Biden first ran for office and all the celebrities came out. They all backed him. They all lined up one after another. There must have been 20 of them supporting and doing shows and showing up at places. And now there's one, and it's Robert De Niro. Not a good look, Joe. Most of you guys have turned against you. I wonder why. Probably because of all the craziness going on in the world. Not for nothing. You could do better. I'm just saying. But that's neither here nor there. November will tell the tale, and we'll see who's in the standing then. And I forgot to do something. I apologize. Got to fix that. All right. The next thing is they brought out the two of the cops from the Capitol Hill thing. Two of the cops that were not very well received by the crowd that was in front of them. and there was some shouting going on. And you could just, if you go watch this clip, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna do a hyperbole on it, and I'll play the clip and I'll juxtapose it with what they were doing at that moment that they were talking about, because it's on film. I mean, you can't write a better segment. I mean, all of it's on film, so we know what they did, and we know what happened, and we know what they're saying happened, and those two things don't line up. They just don't. So I'm going to do that. But if you just look at their faces in this press conference, they don't look like they want to be there. I mean, I don't blame them. Somebody from on high told them to go out there and do that, because that's not a very classy thing to do. First of all, the whole country thinks that you're prosecuting your political rival to keep him from running. Everybody thinks that. I'm not the only one. And if you censor me for saying so, just know that 95% of the country also thinks that, including the other side. So it's not just me. That beside, it's not a good idea to hold a presser in front of the courthouse where that's happening if everybody thinks that. It looks a little desperate. Let's go, Brandon is hilarious. Yes, it is. What's hilarious is they got Joe Biden saying it, and he doesn't know what it means. I don't think. Anyway, some decisions have been made that were not the best decisions. I'm sorry. I don't care which side you fall on, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever. Trump went to the Bronx and drew 25,000 people in blue New York. And then AOC went on TV and basically said the quiet part out loud. The only reason he's in the Bronx is because he can't go anywhere else because he's on trial. That's the reason the trial is happening. So what you're telling me is that it works? That you're putting a thumb on the scales is working? That's what you're saying out loud on TV, AOC? If I was you, I'd probably keep that one to yourself. Just me. You guys should have, like, advisors to tell you things like that. It's not a good look. Then he goes to Harlem and draws a bunch of people from Harlem. Trump in Harlem. Now, you think that'd be the one place on earth he couldn't go, that or Chicago? He was there. Then he capped it off by going to the Libertarian Party convention that was held a couple days ago into hostile territory like a boss. Huevos of steel, this man walked into a hostile environment and stood there like a man and alpha dogged them. And by the time he left, when he got there, he was being booed and jeered. And when he left, he was being cheered. That's a man. I don't care who you are. You got to respect that. Either side, you got to respect that, because there ain't nobody else on any other political field doing that. He's the only one. So that means something. I don't think it's working the way that Brandon thinks it's working. Brandon is a nice guy. The real Brandon probably is a nice guy. Or are you talking about the Brandon? Yes, Amanda, it was funny what the crowd was yelling on live television while Robert De Niro was trying to compose himself and say something that sounded really serious, but you could tell no one in the audience was taking very seriously. April said, hit that like button, everybody, pretty please. Yes, please do hit the like button. There's 7 people in chat right now. There's only 5 likes. That means 3 of you, 2 of you hadn't hit the like button yet. He paid the hush money, no question. Yeah. What's your point, Fab Daddy? It's not illegal to pay hush money. That's not a crime, in case you didn't know. There's no crime. I watched the whole trial. There's no trial. The defense did their job, and the prosecutor spent 6 weeks. They never suggested a crime. There's no injured party. The statute of limitations is up if there were an injured party. Everybody came out richer than they went in. All the way around. On all the different things. That one was the Letitia James one, but this one, the hush money part, he's told everybody that she was paid money, but he didn't know about it. See, the problem is his lawyer, Cohen, wanted to be the AG or the defense secretary or something like that. So he really was invested in the idea of solving problems for Donald Trump. So when this thing come up, he took it upon himself to pay for it. This all came out in the trial yesterday. If you read the transcripts of the trial, then you'd know. And after he lied on stand, he as much as admitted to the fact that Trump had no idea that he paid that woman the money. And when he wrote it up in the books, he wrote it up as a legal expense, and Trump signed off on it because that's what Trump does. He signs off on things, hundreds of things a day. Here's the problem with that, though. Cohen stole like $30,000 from the Trump campaign and put it in his pocket. So he, on stand, admitted to a real crime, an actual felony, larceny, grand larceny. He's not going to jail. But because something was dotted in the wrong place or labeled the wrong thing, Trump might go to jail. That doesn't seem very fair now, does it? Anyway. But no, there's no question she was paid hush money. Why was she paid hush money? Because she was trying to roll Trump to get money out of him. And so he capitulated and gave her money. This is a common occurrence amongst rich people. They get rolled quite often. So NDAs are not illegal. Breaking an NDA is illegal, which she did. And that Bill Maher brought that out. On his show, she broke the NDA. And it contradicted what she was saying in court. Lying to a federal officer is a crime. Lying to a court is a crime under oath, if you're under oath, and he was. So Cohen broke the law. But it's not a crime to pay money to a prostitute to keep her mouth shut. That's not illegal. If it were illegal, lots and lots and lots and lots of people would be going to jail. April says, okay, Fab Daddy, sure, and what dream? Ha Was he nice? LOL. Amanda says, even if he did, it's not illegal, and he didn't do it with campaign money. Correct. It was his own money. Fab Daddy says he had the National Inquiry work for him to silence a woman. Not true. He had his lawyer work for him to silence a hooker who was threatening to say in public what they did in private or didn't do. Trump says they didn't do that. So that's his word against hers. And there's no proof that he did do that. There's not even so much as a picture of them together except on a golf course. And no witnesses corroborate that they were together. So it's her word against his. That's not a crime, even if they were together. However, extortion is a crime, which is what she was engaging in all along. There's plenty of evidence of that. No, there's no two ways about it. This is a political witch hunt. You can ask either side, Democrat or Republican. No one on planet Earth would be charged with this crime if their name wasn't Trump. That's the reason this is happening. The law that they're using to charge him with a crime is a law that has never been used before because it's retarded. April says, he just does what he's told. It's not rocket science, right? April says, speaking of our president now, respect. Speak of our president now with respect. I think that's what you meant. Speaking of our president now, respect. I think that's what you meant. Fab Daddy says, I just think Trump is a chump. His first team was a disaster. This is why you like him? No, this is not why I like him. And I understand that you think Trump is a chump, and if you were to say that, I would respect that. trying to tack all of this evil stuff on him and say he's done all these bad things, that's disingenuous and dishonest, and you know it. Trump ain't ever done anything wrong. He is cleaner than anybody on planet Earth. How do I know that? Because for 3 years, and probably longer, every alphabet agency in the world has been so far up his tail he can taste them, and if he has so much as committed a jaywalking offense, they would have him in prison, because that's what they want to do, is have him in prison. And they haven't got anything on him, and every single trial that they brought against him has fallen apart. You know why it's falling apart? Because there's nothing there. There's no there, as the news likes to say. It's a sham, the whole thing. Open your eyes and see what's happening right in front of you. That's an American citizen. That's a former president of the United States of America that they're treating like a chump in court. That shouldn't stand well with anybody, for any party. It doesn't even matter that he's Republican. If it happened to Joe Biden, I'd be upset about it. And I don't even like that guy. I think he's the crookedest person on planet Earth. But I would stand up and fight to the death for his right to have rights and to have a fair trial. Do you know what the judge did today in the court? He sustained every objection that the defense raised, and he overruled every objection that the prosecutors received. Meaning he allowed the prosecutors to ask all kinds of ridiculous questions without anything holding them back. And every question the defense asked, he shot down. Then he instructed the jury to disregard certain testimonies. He did not allow people that could come in and conclusively state that these things were not crimes. They weren't allowed to have that. And then when he gave instructions to the jury, he said to the jury, you don't even have to vote unanimously on which crime. As long as you think he did something wrong, you can say guilty. You don't have to admit between all of you that he committed a crime, which is what a jury is supposed to do, is unanimously vote. If one juror does not vote, that's a hung jury. But according to the way it's set up, they could think he was guilty of jaywalking and say, yeah, well, he committed a crime, because they don't have to vote on what crime. That's what the judge did. That don't sound crooked to you? How would you like to be in that seat? How would you like to be in trouble for something and that's the jury you got? You think you'd get a fair shake? I'm just asking. But yeah, I respect the fact that you don't like Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't think Trump's a good man. I don't need to like Trump. You understand that? Do you understand that Republicans don't have to like Trump to know that he's a good businessman and that he'll run the country properly? Because the people in the foreign places are terrified of him. They don't know what he's going to do next. None of this stuff that's going on in the world was happening while he was president. Robert De Niro says, don't you know that if he gets in there, he will never leave? He'll never leave, ever. Well, he left last time. He's already been there once. You do realize he was already president for 4 years, right? He didn't become a dictator then. Gas prices were down. Stock market was up. Everybody had a job. The world was going quite well until COVID came around, which was not Trump's doing. So, he left last time. Maybe he didn't concede, but neither did Hillary Clinton. For 4 years, she talked Russia, 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 and collusion and all kinds of other things. And that he was an illegitimate president. So make up your mind. Which is it? Pardon me. Curious Squirrel says, the Banana Republic is showing itself. You're absolutely right. We are getting very third worldy around here. Colin Hill, the middle. What's up? He says, hey, Jake. What's up, Colin? Amanda says, Trump did a lot for us in his first term. The other side fought him all the way, and Trump will do a lot for us again this term. Watch and see. Well, the thing most people misunderstand is that when Trump first got elected into office, Trump had never been to Washington more than 11 times in his entire life. He is not a politician. He didn't hang out with politicians. So he didn't understand the game he was getting into. So the only thing he had to rely on were people that have been there forever. And he correctly assumed that when you go into a new business, you talk to the people that have been there the longest. Those are the people you rely on because they know the rules. Problem is they were all against him, and they were all working against him every step of the way. If you think Trump didn't do anything in office, imagine what he would have done if the whole world, the entire media, and the entire establishment of all the forces were not against him while he was president. Imagine what he could have accomplished if he worked like any other president, that everybody serves at the pleasure of the president and he can actually make decisions. Imagine what it would have been like then. And Fab Daddy says, I think he should run the country from prison. Well, if he goes to prison, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and Obama and Bush need to go to prison too. You can't have a double standard in the law. Either war crimes are illegal or the president has immunity. Because you can't be an effective president if you're going to be held accountable afterwards for the things you had to do in office. So I firmly agree that presidents should have immunity and be above the law. But if they're not, if they're going to be held accountable, then we need to do some serious courting on the rest of them, because all of them are guilty of crimes, all of them. Amanda says, LOL, it's the truth. And Rachel says, facts, Amanda, 100%. April says, it is the truth. Facts. Absolutely agree with Jake. Thank you. Thank you. Squirrel says, that's why they are using certain judges, specifically chosen juries. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and a lot of dead people can vote. So, go figure. Amanda says, and the judge hid the jury instructions from the jury. He told them all what to do, but he won't even let them have a copy so they know how to do what they need to do. They have to remember all that. And there's a bunch of rules. There's a lot going on in this. These are crooked, Soros-funded judges. And there's a reason that they're in place. And this guard, this is part of the old guard, by the way. The old administration, the Obama administration, and past that, he inherited it. But it's not all his fault, is what I'm saying, but he's part of it. This old guard needs to be gotten away with. All these people need to be done away with. All the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers and the Nadlers and all those guys need to be gone. You need to replace them with people of this age. All those people have aged out, and the world ain't in Cold War anymore. The world doesn't work like it used to. So they're doing things that are not good for the country anymore. That's my position, and I'm sticking to it. And you can believe what you want to believe. I'm not telling you how to believe. I'm just reporting the news, baby. Trump can be the American Nelson Mandela. I hear you, buddy. Well, I don't think they're going to put him in jail. Maybe house arrest, but I don't think they're going to put him in jail. That would be blatant attempted murder, because if they put Trump in jail, somebody's going to try to kill him in jail. That's just the way it is. Look what happened to Epstein. People in power don't usually go to jail for that reason. Abel says, yep, facts. Curious Squirrel says, maybe you should pay attention before your chat jumps. They stabbed him in the back every chance they got, says Curious Squirrel. Yes, they did. And they're still doing it. And eventually, they're either going to win or lose. And it's not looking good for them right now. Trump's gaining hand over fist. Amanda says, absolutely, Squirrel, facts. And they still are, yes. Curious Squirrel says, and when Hillary lost and people were burning cars in the streets and breaking windows and looting, Why wasn't that called an insurrection? Well, I wonder. I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you that insurrections usually don't involve a bunch of old people that don't have guns. Hush money, campaign violations are not a joke. But see, that's just it, Fab Daddy. You're saying things you heard on TV. There are no campaign violations. There were no campaign funds involved in that transaction. They have definitively proven that. Trump already won the election when this happened. Go back and look at the dates. This occurred after he was president. He's already won the election when she got paid. This is not campaign finance money. This is Trump money being used by a Trump lawyer to hush up a Trump problem. Not illegal. The word hush money sounds illegal, but it's not. Go look it up. Show me what law hush money breaks. No, it was not before he was president. They got together before he was president. He paid her after she was president. That's the reason she went after him, because she had more leverage now that he was in office. See? Remember, there were quite a few years she did not go after him. In fact, she went out emphatically stating on many, many different shows that they didn't have sex at all, that it was a hoax. Go watch Howard Stern and go watch Bill Maher. These are lefties, by the way, so I'm not pulling from right-wing sources. Go look for yourself. Go see what she said over and over and over. Go look at her on The View. And then all of a sudden, when Trump's in office, now there's something happened, and the story changed about 3 times. That's not honesty, Fab Daddy. You're not being honest with yourself. April says, Trump is a good businessman, and when Trump was president, all the bullshit wasn't going on anywhere. True. Trump is a good businessman. My typing sucks. Sorry. That's all right, April. We got it. I'll figure it out. Fab Daddy says a new neighbor is playing Mexican guitar. Oh, cool. You ought to record that. I love Spanish guitar. Curious Squirrel says, how soon people forget. I remember talking with my sister about how insane it was, and then they attacked him for 4 years instead of propping up their next candidate. Correct. They have spent a lot of time and money and effort on it, on defeating Trump. Now, let me ask you a question, Fab Daddy. CNN is probably the not Trump network of the world, right? CNN is on Trump's side on most of these things right now. And if CNN has Trump's back, you know they've screwed up, because there ain't no way to spin it to make it look right. And even CNN says this is a sham trial. April says, very good question, Squirrel. Rachel Floyd says, who is Elizabeth? Is this an original or a cover? This is an original song, and Elizabeth is a fictitious woman that stands in place of a girl named Allison that I wrote a song about many years ago. But there's already an Allison, so I went with Elizabeth. Same amount of syllables. He just needs a squeeze box. Well, I can't argue with that. April says, I agree. And Rachel says, was Elizabeth the one who got away? Nah. Unfortunately, that particular girl never got in. It was just a glance across the room, and I wrote a song about it. And but, you know, they never get away. April says, Trump isn't afraid to hurt anyone's feelings. He's honest, and at least I'd rather have an honest president than one who can't speak without reading cue cards. Ugh, amen to that. Yeah, here's another thing. The debates that Biden touted with his 15-second rapid-fire commercial that has 8 cuts in it to say 15 seconds of stuff? Yeah. Well, turns out there's a whole lot of rules that he put in place, like no audience, like only being broadcast on Democrat TV stations, not Fox or any of the Republican places, no place on the internet. Like microphones are being cut off, like choosing Democrat militant moderators. There's like 8 or 9 or 10 different rules that he put out that he demands. Trump agreed to them all. It's fine. I'll do it on your terms. When and where, buddy? And then he comes out with one rule. I want to make sure that he gets drug tested before we go on stage, which is reasonable because you have to be drug tested to get a job. You have to be drug tested to be a cop or a fireman or a pilot. Why not president? You think he's got the nuclear code. Surely you want him to be clean, right? So there shouldn't be a problem for both of them to get drug tested. I think that'd be great. So, yeah, let's go with that. One request. He's already agreed to all of Biden's demands. Who do you think's going to win this debate, Fab Daddy? I think Trump's going to wipe the floor with him. Amanda says, oh, yeah, and don't fall every time he turns around, right? Or get lost. Fab Daddy says, I watched Bill Maher. Okay, so you understand that she's lying through her teeth, right? Because you're an objective grown man that can see when somebody changes their script for the sake of attention and money. So you recognize a money-grubbing whore when you see one, right? Okay, just checking. Howard Stern is good sometimes. Well, he was especially good when she was on it because she said something on that program that contradicts what she said in court. Out of her mouth. Nobody was holding a gun to her head. And April Rain says, yes, Trump won, and they cheated him, ugh. Well, apparently that's debatable, and apparently I'll get in trouble for saying something like that. So the elections are free and fair, and no one has ever attempted to sway an election by letting dead people vote or stuffing ballot boxes or anything like that. Don't listen to what you read on the news or on TV or on books or on anything. Don't read it all. Just listen to YouTube because they know what they're talking about. Vaccines are free and fair and safe, and elections are honest. And Biden won fair and square. 81 million voters turned out. He can't fill an auditorium, but 81 million voters voted for him. April says, absolutely, Amanda. Fab Daddy says, I would say MSNBC is more anti-Trump. Only recently. Only very just recently, because CNN had it out for Trump. That's all they talked about for 5 years. That's the only story they had for 5 years was Trump. So much so that I had to stop watching CNN because it was ridiculous. Fab Daddy says, I watch all kinds of views. I used to. I got tired of yelling at my TV. Now I just get my news from independent sources. I don't watch TV at all anymore because all of it's lying to you. All of it. Both sides. Amanda says, all the power they keep finding is not Hunter's. All the powder they keep finding is not Hunter's, it's Joe's. Well, that, too, is a speculation. I don't know whose it is. Nobody knows whose it is. It just happens to be in places where some people tend to be. But, you know. Fab Daddy says, don't get me going about slutty women. I had a girlfriend with a tattoo of a seashell on her thigh. Well, that's all right, as long as it wasn't a dagger. Never sleep with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger. Wise words. Curious Squirrel says, that's why they're suing states to take all those dead people off the rolls. Pay attention to what's happening behind the scenes too, Fab Daddy. Look at what Kari Lake's been fighting in Arizona. Look at what's happening in Florida. Look at what happened. Look at what's happening in Michigan and Ohio and different places. Pennsylvania. Pretty interesting things are occurring. Trump did a rally up north maybe a week ago, and drew over 100,000 people. I think he was in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure. Somewhere up north. Can't remember exactly. It might have been Michigan. But 100,000 people came. That's a lot of people. He's not losing. He's winning. Amanda says, gross, Fab. Tattoo of a seashell on her leg. Ugh. If you put your ear to it, you could smell the ocean. That's what's gross. I got you. Squirrel says, so they are replacing the dead people with new people. New people. They want to let vote. Yeah, but there's a fundamental problem with this theory that they didn't consider. Those people, of the Spanish variety, most of those are hardcore religious people. They're right-wing all the way. And they're not, once they get in here, I mean, yeah, they'll wear the T-shirts when they come across the border and all that. Yeah, but Joe Biden, when they get in here and see how things are ran, they'll vote Republican. That's not going to be their voter block. So that is a fundamental miscalculation of what they're trying to do, if they are in fact trying to do that sort of thing. April says, golly, that's a lot of people, 100,000 people. Yep. And those numbers are not inflated. That's how many people were there, and that's probably a conservative number. Curie says, we certainly do live in interesting times. It's like we live in 1984, literally and metaphysically. April says, right, Squirrel? It definitely is a strange time to be alive, but that's all right. We will survive, and I will begin to ramp up over the next few weeks. I'm going to do more of this, but I'm going to do it with pictures, because just talking about it don't quite sell the point like I want it to. So I'm probably going to do a version of Hyperbole that's live, that I can tackle the debates and the election coming up. And I'll probably continue that through the election and then go on to something else afterwards. But right now, that's the big news that's happening in the world. And so I'm going to cover it, because I'm trying to build the channel and get new people in here. Not that there's anything wrong with the old people. I like the old people. Curious says, I like 1984 better. Yeah, right? And April says, agreed, Squirrel. Fab Daddy says, another girlfriend had one leg tattooed all with Christmas and the other leg tattooed with Thanksgiving. I like where this is going. She invited company over between holidays. Nice. Good one, Fab. But easy. There's a lot of ladies in here. Amanda says, geez, Fab. Now, what I would like to do is be more thorough in my description of what's happening, and non-biased. So that's one thing you can count on. You know which way I lean, but when I report the news, it's not going to be in that spin. I'm not going to spin the news. I'm just going to report what happens. So that's what I'll be talking about. So don't accuse me of being a Trump supporter or anything like that, because my personal politics will not get involved in me repeating what's happening in the world. But I think it's necessary. I think that's the way that I'm being pushed at the moment, so that's the way I'm going to go. The rest of the stuff is going to stay like it is. I'm just going to add that to it. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I really don't think the president affects my life much. It doesn't, not much. But it does not hurt to know what's happening. And also, it can affect your life because certain policies can cause certain things to occur that will not make your life better. And you might say that. But remember that gas was $1.50 when Trump left office. Remember that. Don't forget that. $1.50. And we were energy independent, and our reserves were full. And there were no new wars on any coast anywhere in the world. And our military was strong and driving around in brand new things. All of those things are things that will affect your life indeterminately or directly. So you blame refineries who do their job based on numbers that come from the president and his policies. You can't blame refineries. All they're doing is their job. Their job is to refine oil. They can't refine oil if it doesn't come. It can't come if fracking and oil refineries are blocked. And manufacturers were moving back to the United States. That's true. Curious. I forgot that one. And manufacturers were coming back to the United States. You know, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but we don't make anything in America anymore. We outsource it to all the other countries, and they send it back, and we pay taxes in the form of tariffs to get it here. That's how that works. Because it's cheaper on the company to do it overseas. Problem is it makes America weak because we can't provide anything of our own. Should we go to war with China, they could cut our medicine off because they make all of it and everything else that they make that we use. Should we go to war with Iran, they could cut the gasoline off. You see what's happening here? These are not good things. These are not good positions to be in. So the Abraham Accords were signed. Israel's embassy was built and opened. Peace in the Middle East. Our president walked across to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone in North Korea, alone without a security detail and stood in front of Kim Jong-un like this. He should have won a Nobel Peace Prize for that, and he didn't. They never even mentioned it. It's never even been talked about since then. No president has ever done that before, ever. That was history-making stuff. You should think about that. Your president wouldn't do that. He would cower in the corner or come up with some excuse why he couldn't do it. Trump did it. Made peace with a nuclear threat. If the other party had won, we would be in a nuclear war about 2 days after the inauguration. They were already testing the missiles. They haven't tested since. Does that tell you anything? Interesting, that. Yeah, and the USA was drilling. I covered that with fracking. Man, we were drilling. It says I'm blaming for the price hike. No, the refineries don't control the price. They just refine the oil. They can't refine oil if oil isn't brought to them. If crude isn't brought in, they can't refine it into oil. So, no, they're not in charge of the price hike. Price happens when it's in a barrel. That's when they set the price. And guess who does that? The government does that. Manufacturing was, I read that one. Oil price per barrel hasn't skyrocketed like gasoline. Fab Daddy. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. I'll just move on. I'm not going to call you out and make you sound really, really dumb. Refineries and greedy corporations raise prices. Not true. They don't. They refine. That's it. The price isn't set until it's in a barrel. The barrel is at the reserve in Nevada. You understand? It's the president's policy. It's the global workings that set the price. It's how much we can buy from Iran and Iraq or wherever we're buying it from, Russia, if it's natural gas. And then the offset from the reserves that we have. You see, we haven't been producing. There's only 2 oil refineries in America. Only 2, and they're in Texas. And we haven't been doing that for a very long time. So where did all the gas prices come from before they opened the refineries back up? You see, Trump's policies allow for fracking and for that part of the oil that we usually can't get to. It's like really super crude, but there's good oil in there. It's just really hard to get to. His policies allow for that, and for offshore drilling and for drilling in America, which Biden has shut down. He shut down the Keystone Pipeline, which pushed oil down to Texas to that refinery you're talking about. That's what that pipeline's for. All that was shut down by the Obama administration. I mean, the Biden administration. Trump is the one that made all that possible. That's why we were energy independent. That's why every single day the stock market was hitting a new record every single day the entire time he was in office. Despite all the naysayers saying it was bound to crash any minute. Steady rise. Dow Jones was hitting records every day. You cannot argue with the numbers, Fab Daddy. And by the way, I changed my mind. I will. Gasoline is made out of oil. Fab Daddy says the market would change if we boycotted gas for a week, but we can't. Why would you want to, Fab Daddy? If you boycotted gas for a week, the world would grind to a standstill because everything operates on some form of fuel. Do you understand what you're saying? I suspect you don't. I suspect you can't think much beyond the pump and your tank. If we boycotted gas, your groceries wouldn't be there. Think about what you're saying. More than 2 refineries. Yeah, we'll point them out. What are they? I don't think you know what a refinery is. Supply and demand. Correct. You'll supply and demand us right into a third world country because you're taking from the supply that we demand. Yeah. April says, everyone knows who makes the decisions. Curious Squirrel says, America, amnesia is a problem. Yep. Amanda says, Biden couldn't find his way. Right. Fab Daddy says, I can take it, lay it down. I ain't trying to get in a fight. April says, sacrifices they make to be part of our country's history. Right. Wrong. I'm not wrong, Fab Daddy. I'm not wrong. I'm also not indoctrinated, which is why you think I'm wrong. I've also built pipelines, so I know where the pipelines go. More than 2 refineries. Hell, the Bay has more. The Bay Area has 2. Well, I would suggest you look into that. They really don't care if the people die. That's true, too. We're all numbers. Supply and demand. Fab Daddy says, really, really. April says, I haven't seen anyone we've helped offer to help us. Anyone else? No, I do. You see, when the last president was president, he went to the UN and he addressed all of these countries that we've helped over the years. And he said, how much are you paying? And they said, 2%. How much are you paying? 0.5%. How much are you paying? And it went on like that. And then he said, I'm going to withdraw all help from all of your countries, and we're not going to protect you anymore unless you pay your fair share, unless you pay your portion of what you owe the country, because we've helped you. Now it's your turn to help us back. And the money rolled in. That's one of the reasons the economy got so good all of a sudden. And it's the same reason that it went really bad all of a sudden when Biden took office. Because they were paying their fair share under Trump. That's what all those meetings were about that they made fun of him about on TV, like when he was at the koi pond with the Chinese king, Xi or whatever his name is. I might be calling him that from a movie. Anyway, that guy, the Chinese guy that looks like the bear. Anyway, that's what that meeting was about. Getting money back for the help that we've given. Remember when he was in the tent with the Arabs and they were swinging the swords around and Trump was dancing around the fire and everybody made fun of him for it? Well, nobody's ever been in that tent before that's from this country. That was the leader of that country. And that little dance ensured a partnership which would lower gas prices over time because they set the gas prices when it's in a barrel. Curious Girl says, true, April. Michael Jackson said that one perfectly. All I can say is they don't really care about us. Right. Fab Daddy says, refinery breaks down crude oil in different elements. One is gas, let alone plastics. Well, I thought you said something about that a minute ago. You remember that? Curious Girl says, all I want to say, hey, I was close, LOL. Fab Daddy says, my brother makes a good wage from the oil companies. I'm sure he does. Oil companies tend to pay well. I don't expect to get the money back I paid in Social Security. Yeah, well, you should. That's why you're paying it. That should be your money, but you're probably not going to get it. No, because we're very, very in debt right now. Curious says, you forget your medications, Fab Daddy? You got any, says Fab Daddy? I got any what? Social Security? No. That's right. Made from oil. That's right. Do I have any Social Security? No, absolutely not. That was when Trump was president, correct? April. I like flour. I like flour too. Flour's not made with oil, just so you know. April says, yes, I'm talking about now. Yep. It's definitely very interesting, this world that we live in, that we found ourselves in, and there's a lot of things going on. Oil from flour. That would be a travesty. It wouldn't be very good oil either. You'd be better off getting it from walnuts. And I'm pretty sure that's FLOUR, but I might be wrong. Unless you're talking about a specific flour. that I do not know about because it's not a good idea. Because we have a never-ending resource of actual oil that the planet makes for our use. We can tap into it at any time we want to. Lavender oil is a cure for burns. Okay, interesting. So you did mean FLOWER. Okay. All right, well, yeah, that won't work because it's a different kind of oil and it isn't nearly viscous enough to handle the job that oil does. Because oil does more than make gasoline. Petroleum makes more than just oil. Castor oil is a cure for everything, says April, right? Just drink enough of it, you'll throw your guts up. There won't be nothing left in you to make you sick. They got all their money back, didn't they? Yes. After Biden took office, yes. All the money that they paid of their fair share went back to them, yeah. And they've been sending it overseas regularly in intervals since then. I wonder where it's going. Dana says flour is a grain or a bread. Thank you, Dana. Hey, Dana, how are you? We're just shooting the breeze about political things. Marijuana oil is strong, says Fab Duddy. Yes, but marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug, so that's not going to happen. Actually, marijuana is a plant that's useful for quite a lot of things, and it's very, very good. And at one point in this country, before the cotton gin was invented, which made turning cotton into from a plant into a textile very, very cheap and easy. But before that, hemp was the number one export of this country, and it was the thing that initially funded this country. And since then, tobacco and cotton took over, but it started with hemp, and it's a great plant, and it does some amazing things. I agree with you on that one. Sunflower oil is good, but it ain't good for oil. It's good for cooking, but it ain't good for oil. Amanda says, really, no oil is good for burns because oil holds in the heat and causes the burn to get worse. I learned this from a doctor when I was burned. Okay. Yeah, don't put butter on a burn either. Amanda says, hi, Dana. Fab Daddy says, Amanda, don't knock it till you try it. April says, I like sugar. Amen, sister. Me too. Dana says, hi, Amanda. Heart. Try till I try what? Oil for a burn. Democrats be Democrating, yo. April says, hey, Dana Love, good to see you. Fab Daddy says, pure lavender oil work to take away the sting and heals you quicker. Well, I can't argue with that, Fab Daddy, because I've never used lavender oil, but I think oil as a general rule is a bad thing to put on a burn because heat and oil makes things cook. Dana says, much love to all in the chat room. How you doing tonight, Dana? You doing well? Amanda says, I have tried it more than once. Okay. Curious Squirrel says, aloe is great for burns. Now, that's true. I burned my fingers so badly they were stuck together. I cut aloe leaves the long way and wrapped them around each finger. It didn't help with the pain, but I have no scars. Aloe is amazing for burns. That is true. But that's not oil. That's more like a sludge. I don't know, some kind of slimy stuff. It's really good for you. You can eat that too, by the way. Maybe a steam burn, but a 2nd or 3rd degree burn. Nope, says Amanda. Fab Daddy says, and shredded potatoes for arc burns on your eyes. Also true. You can put a piece of potato or a cucumber on your eye if you have arc burns. April says, I started yoga, LOL. I know. Go, girl. Get them thighs into shape. Fab Daddy says, starch will smooth the itchy, scratchy feeling. Mustard works miracles on burns, says Amanda. A little ketchup. Put it on a sesame seed bun. Oh, yeah. Eat that burn right off. April says, yeah, and butter, too. Yeah, don't put butter on a burn. That'll make it worse. Butter has oil in it, April, says Amanda. Yeah, because butter ain't really butter. Parquet. Hope everybody's having a good time tonight. I hope everybody likes the topic of conversation and the alliteration that brought it on. The Trump train tracks true Trite-Trial troubles. I wrote that. Nice. A lot of TRs. Hey, won't you guys do me a favor? Hit that subscribe button. Press the bell icon so you get notifications when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. It really does help the channel with the algorithms. Helps us get recommended to other people. Won't you do that? Please hit that like button. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love what I'm doing and you can see the value in what I'm trying to create, how about show a little love by hitting the super chat button in the chat box? Or join the channel and see what happens. Might bring you into a world you never knew existed. But if you want to get serious and help out in a substantial way, you can go to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a Cash App user, you can go to $jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to you too, because God notices these things. Now, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support and answer all your questions and comments, as I always do, right now. I burned water, says Fab Daddy. That's bad, man. April says, just use aloe, right? That's probably the best thing. No, butter on burns wouldn't dream of it. Oil does make a burn feel worse. It makes it actually worse, not just feel worse. It is worse. Aloe is a cure for a lot of things, says April. Yeah, you can eat it. Or you can rub it on your skin. You can lick it. It's good, says April. Amanda says, yes, April. Aloe tea is good, too. I don't know about all that. Slimy. About to get my voice back. It's coming. More hot coffee down the pipes. Maybe I should put some oil in my throat. I think I got some 10W50 outside. I take a couple swigs of that on Fab Daddy's advice. Heal it right up. Slurp that aloe, says Fab Daddy. Amanda says, LOL, Jake, not if it's done right. I can't imagine it being done right. Grandma used vinegar for everything. She sure did. And so far, the only thing I've ever found that vinegar is good for is making peas taste better and pulled pork. But, can't really see where it's helping anything else other than making you smell like vinegar, which might have been the idea. She might have been just trying to keep Grandpa off of her. Ever thought about that, smartass? Ha ha ha. Well, thank you all for your super chats tonight. I surely do appreciate that. And thank you for being here and putting up with my diatribes. It's going to get worse, I promise. But we're going to do some great things here. It's growing. I can feel it. Vinegar is good with vegetables. That's right, Fab Daddy. You got it. Another thing we can agree on. Vinegar works great on sunburns. Never tried it. I took it like a man when I got a sunburn. I don't believe in sunscreen. I think, and the older I get, the more I think is that God didn't make any mistakes. He knew what he was doing. Because your body tends to solve these problems by itself. You don't need to put crap on you. Crap made by the lowest bidder. Honey and peppermint tea is great for a sore throat. Thank you, Curious Squirrel. That is a good idea. April says, I just got with Kevin, eating late. Ugh. Well, tell Kevin I said hello. Pavarotti, opera famous singer, used to drink 3 raw eggs every morning for his voice. Lots of protein in raw eggs, but also salmonella. You know what else a clean window's free of streaks, Fab Daddy? Just a plain old newspaper with nothing on it. Just wipe your put your Windex and then wipe your window down with a plain old newspaper. Streak free. April says, much love, everybody. See you the next one on Friday at 8:30. Love you all. Mwah. Love you too, and love Kevin too, and have a great night. And thank you for the super chat. Amanda says, good night, April. And Fab Daddy says, yep. Plain old newspaper. Does it great. Fab Daddy says, good night, April. And Dana says, vinegar is great window cleaner. Yes, it is. April says, Amanda, we need to get together. I'll call you tomorrow. I got to work, so I'll holler on my break. Okay? Sweet. Fantastic. Match made in heaven. Amanda says, okay, I'm available anytime, hon. And April says, LOL, Dana, you're not wrong, love. Fab Daddy says, I use vinegar to clean out my coffee maker. I use vinegar to clean out my pipes. I love pulled pork with vinegar on it. It's delicious. Little red pepper, a little cayenne or something. Lovely. Me 3, says April. Yes. Oh, me too, says Amanda. You know what I use to clean my coffee maker? Coffee. Amanda says, I like pickle juice. That is vinegar. Fab Daddy says, carnitas. Folgers. Or Maxwell House, one of the two. Kevin said, hugs and kisses. Mwah. Hugs and kisses back, Kev. Get that work done, buddy. Exactly my point, says Amanda. You guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. Kevin Cox, what's up, brother? He said, hey, brother. Jake needs a good Mexican restaurant. I got a good Mexican restaurant down the road. It's called Mi Cabana. And it's they make pretty good food there. We got another one in Snow Hill called La Flama's, but it ain't good. It's kind of roachy. Jake needs some good home cooking. That's a fact. Getting tired of eating out of a box. They got carnitas. No, I don't have a carnitas around here. But I imagine it's pretty close to the same thing. Most Mexican restaurants are the same. April says, Dawn dish soap and water. For what? You like to eat Dawn dish soap and water? I wouldn't dare use Dawn dish soap. I'm an Ajax man because I'm smart. Fab Daddy says, pork chops. You put Dawn dish soap and water on your pork chops? That's horrible. Dawn works on everything. No, it doesn't. Dawn is a useless product. The only thing it can do is make a bird get clean faster. If your dishes have an oil spill in them, that might be useful. But Ajax will do the same thing. April says, much love, Fab Daddy, and all in chat. I learned not to use Windex ever again on anything. On a TV. Right, yeah, don't use it. Don't clean the TVs. Use a paper towel with a little bit of water, but make sure it's drying. Because those TVs are very fragile. They're very thin. And they're made out of weird stuff. And Windex and things like that will definitely mess it up. Hey, big badass Jake, says Kevin. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Nice of you to be here. Pastor is pork with pineapple. Yes. Well, pastor is pork. Period. Amanda says, Dawn and water makes awesome window cleaner. Well, that might be so. I used to use Dawn to get grease out of all my work clothes, says Amanda. You know what else will work for that? Stick with me here. Laundry detergent. Fab Daddy says, furniture polish on the TV. Amanda says, absolutely. Good old Pledge, says Fab Daddy. Maybe. I don't know. You can use Pledge on a guitar. I've done that before. But I wouldn't dare put Windex on it because it'll make it all streaky. Amanda says, use that too. Pledge is good. The best thing to use on a TV, though, or something that's electronic like that is just a drying wet paper towel. You want it to be drying so that it doesn't drip, because if you press on a wet paper towel, water will go down into cracks, and then you'll get, problems, potentially. That's what happened to my Macintosh keyboard over here. I cleaned it, and it got wet because I rubbed the paper towel against the keys, and it leaked down in the keys. Just a little bit. But it ended that keyboard. A microfiber cloth on TV, says Amanda. Yeah, that too. April says, I just use a damp cloth. Same thing. After I dust and dry it, I thought I ruined our big screen TV. There is a black line on it, but it's still watchable. Whoops, embarrassing. Yeah, I would say you probably got it wet in a place that shouldn't have got wet. And that's bad. And those things are expensive, too. I don't even want to touch one. I wouldn't buy one. I have a few big TVs, but they were given to me. I don't buy them. Like using an old sock turned inside out. Just a little damp for screens, right? That's a good idea. Old cotton sock. Yep. Just damp, but not wet. Although a Swiffer has an awesome line of cleaning stuff out there. Yeah, maybe so, but in my opinion, things like that are just replacements for the old things. There's nothing wrong with a mop. You don't need a Swiffer. Or a feather duster, but those do work. Not the feather duster. What's the thing called? You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of magnetic. It looks like a big green caterpillar. You know what I'm talking about. That thing. It works. We have 7 TVs, but the living room TV is the biggest, says April. Wow. Swiffer has dusters and blind cleaners, not just mops. Okay, what's wrong with the duster? Why does it have to be made by Swiffer? April says, I agree, Amanda. I love the Swiffer. I'm not the one going to be cleaning blinds and stuff, so if you want a Swiffer, you go right ahead. Amanda says, me too, April, and Swiffer just came out with a new mop. See? Mop. Just get a mop. Mops work fine. One of these. It's good for the spirit. You can sing pirate songs while you clean the floor. Yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho. What? Amanda says, LOL, Jake. And Squirrel. April says, Squirrel, I've done that too. A bucket and a brush. That's right, Fab Daddy. Ain't nothing wrong with a bucket and a brush. You ain't got to get all fancy. I don't do the fancy things. Like, I saw a thing one time. It was like a meme. There's this woman, she had this contraption that she bought on Temu or something like that. It's a big square thing, takes up big space on her counter. And you put your bread down in it, and then you fold the bread over it, and then you pull this lever, and it seals it around, and then cuts it off with a pair of scissors, and then you got your bread sealed back. And then another guy held up a loaf of bread and went. So some things are overthought, you know, like an egg cracker. You ever seen one of those? Big contraption to crack your eggs? Just do this. Well, I don't want to get little pieces all over it. I can peel an egg without getting any pieces on it. And roll it through my hands one time and go, and it'll come right off. Amanda says, I'm spoiled on some things. LOL, oh well. Yeah. As long as you got the pocket to cover it, you can be as spoiled as you want to be. April says, cool. I'm looking for another mop for the office. We have the spin mop. I buy those mops when the others get gross. I always clean them real good, though. I like the old, like the industrial type mops that have the bucket with the handle on it. You know what I mean? Big, heavy mops. I like those. I don't like the little mops that you buy at the dollar store or whatever because they always come apart all over your floor. But the big heavy-duty ones don't come apart. Curious says, and some things were designed so you have to keep buying more. Right. Instead of just using something you already have, like a big heavy mop. Right. Absolutely curious. Amanda says, check out the new Swiffer mop. You'll like it. I doubt it. I'm a traditionalist. Amanda says, LOL, true Squirrel. Curious Squirrel says, I'm not a good consumer. LOL. Me neither. I like to conserve. I like those apple peelers that can spiral slice. That core spiral and slice. Yeah. I have one of those right here, actually. April says, true Squirrel. Yeah, my apple peeler does just fine. No, not as cool. Oh, it's pretty cool. That's a great knife. So is that one. So is that one. Linda Davis in the house. She says, I just throw my mop head in the washing machine when I'm done. Then it's good for next use. Smart. Amanda says, LOL, someone gave me crap about my hard-boiled egg cooker because you don't need a hard-boiled egg cooker. It's called a saucepan. Just put 6 eggs in a saucepan and boil it for 12 minutes. Done. 8 minutes if you want a soft-boiled egg. Egg cooker. It's retarded. Probably cost a lot, too. The same pot that I use to cook spaghetti, I can cook lots of hard-boiled eggs in. April says, I let mine sit in bleach water and rinse it out real good. Usually does good if I let it sit overnight, right? Those damn nice pots. Yes. Yep, I like the big saucepans. Damn rice pots. Yep. That says rice, not nice. I can see. April says, OMG, I think that is awesome, Amanda. Never seen one. An egg cooker? Ridiculous. Just use a spaghetti pan. I will give a concession to the air fryer, though. I think those are pretty good. I've never used one, but everybody that's ever had one that I know has said it's awesome. They swear by it. So I'll give the air fryer a pass. I do like fried food, but I like iron skillets. I'm an iron skillet man. But if the air fryer can do it, I'll take it. That's fine. April says, I like the Waffle House. I like the one Waffle House uses. I know all about them. Yep. Amanda says, yes, April, it's a big egg with a lid, and you put 8 eggs in it and turn it on, and it turns off when they are done. It's cool. Overkill. Just fill up your pot with water about halfway, just enough to cover the eggs. Drop them in the egg when it's boiling. Drop the eggs in when it's boiling, slowly. And then boil them for 12 minutes and turn it off. And then take those and run cold water over them. Done. Amanda says, I love my air fryer. It's the best thing ever. I've heard a lot of good things about an air fryer. I've never used one, though. I prefer iron skillets. Cast iron. I got a big collection of them. April says, that's so cool, and it takes less time, I'm sure. Nope. It takes 8 minutes for a soft-boiled egg. It takes 12 minutes for a hard-boiled egg, regardless of what device you use to cook it. Very nice, says April. And Amanda says, yes, and it doesn't matter if you forget about them. Well, if you're not being lazy, you won't forget that you're cooking something. And I love cast iron, too. Everything tastes better in cast iron. Change my mind, America. You can take your aluminum pans and throw them out in the yard for all I care. Cast iron is the way to go. And it's easy cleanup. You just wipe it out and put it back. All right. Linda Davis says, my daughter wanted a rice cooker. I told her to just put rice in a pot with water and don't touch it until the water is gone. And it will come out good every time. That's right, Linda. You got it. Don't need a rice cooker. You need a pot. That's it. Amanda says, nothing to do with being lazy. Sometimes you get busy and something else and forget. Maybe you do. And Amanda says, yeah, I hear you, Linda. That's true. Copper conducts better, says Fab Daddy. Well, you're not cooking with an induction stove. If you did, then you could use copper. If you're cooking with fire or if you're cooking with an electric stove, use cast iron. But if you're using an induction stove, then yes, copper bottoms work better. And April says, that's true, Linda. I learned that too. Yep, just leave it alone. It'll cook itself. Amanda says, I have a copper pot for tea. Well, copper is also good for you. It leaches into the water, and that water is good for your body. Your body requires a certain amount of copper. So that's really good. I have copper pipes in my house. Copper pots and pans, says Fab Daddy. I'd rather that than aluminum for sure. I don't like aluminum pans. I think they make you sick, cause Alzheimer's or something. I can't prove that, but every bit of evidence that I've found about aluminum, the body does not like aluminum. So I don't like aluminum pans. And I also don't put metal in the refrigerator, even a spoon, because that causes things to go rancid. Good way to get food poisoning. Amanda says they clean real easy, the copper ones. Yep. Stainless steel is the worst, says Fab Daddy. Yeah, I like stainless steel surfaces. I don't like my pots to be stainless steel. Everything sticks. Yeah. That's because it's brushed. Has the little scratches in it. April says, I have to have a good pan for eggs and a pot to cook and boil things in, and I can't stand ones where everything sticks like steel. Ugh. I can prep it and it still sticks in the steel pan. I hate them. Right. Use a cast iron skillet for all things. But if you have a small cast iron skillet, use that skillet for eggs and nothing else. Don't cook anything else in that pot, just eggs, and it'll be fine. Or I used to have these wok-shaped pans I had 3 sizes for different variant amounts of eggs. And they were the non-stick type, and those were real good for cooking eggs. But my dad differed. I told him, I said, these 3 pans are egg pans. Don't use these 3 pans for anything else. First thing he did was cook a steak in one of them. Ruined it. Scratched the bottom all up. Can't cook an egg in it anymore, so I threw it out in the yard. April says, Fab Daddy, that's the truth. And April Rain says, yes, amen. Fab Daddy says, curing the pans is critical. Yes, I always put oil in my pans. We call it bluing, but it's like you blew a gun. Put some oil in the pan and stick it in the oven and heat it up to temperature and let it cook in. And then drain the oil off, wipe it out, and put it away. And then you got a prepped pan. And then when you cook in it, say you're cooking pork, you use that pan for pork, and then you just wipe it out and put it away. You don't wash it. Don't ever wash cast iron pans. And if you do, dry it off immediately with a soft, dry towel, and then put it away. But dry it good, because it'll rust. Very true, Fab, says Amanda. And April says, interesting knowing how like-minded we all are. I love you all. Well, yeah, we're all sharing good information here. That's the whole purpose of a community, is to share things that we know to help each other out. And if somebody in here doesn't know that, then they pick it up, and then it makes their life better and easier. Beautiful. That's why we're here. That's the whole point of conversation, folks, and we're doing it. And now it is 10 o'clock, so I've got to go to bed. So thank you all for your super chats. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for listening to my diatribe about Donald Trump's Trump train tracking true Trite-Trials of tribulations and trouble. I got to go to bed. Early comes early in the morning. If anything gets stuck in a cast iron, just use salt to scrub it out. Very good, Linda. I like that. And if you ever leave your coffee pot on and it turns black on the bottom, just get you some ice, put a couple of cubes of ice in it, and then just swirl it until the ice melts, and it'll just clean the bottom for you. Pour it out, rinse it out. Done. Just swirl ice around in it. That's all. Amanda says, night, I'll see you Friday night. That's right. I was leaving. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate y'all. Have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. May God's grace abound in your lives, and may his blessings lead you whichever way you decide to go. When you go, though, be nice to somebody. I promise you that'll make your life better. Just be nice. That's it. That's all. Share. Be opened. Look people in the eye when you talk to them. It's very easy to do. Good night, Linda and Walter. Good night, Amanda. Good night, Fab Daddy and April and Kevin and Curious Squirrel and anybody else who's listening. Have a great night. Thank you for being here and thanks for watching.